Uncle said, nigga, you must be sick. All you talk about is just getting rich. Choke my neck, nigga, and ice my bitch. Beat the system with chains and whips.
This is culturally inappropriate.
You run from the spirit of repossession. Too much enamel covers your necklace. I buy bitches, you buy them sections. You buy watches, I buy collections. Misery's fueling your aggression. Jealousy's turned into obsession. Reality TV is mud wrestling. Some sign checks I know better than. Beware of my name that there's delicate. You know I know where you're delicate. Crush you to pieces, I hum a breath of it. I will close your heaven for the hell of it. You think it'd be valor amongst veterans? I'm watching your fame escape relevance. We all in a room, but he's the elephant. You chasing a feature out of your element. And those lab diamonds under inspection. The question marks block your blessings. There's no tombstones in the desert. I know by now you get the message. Uncle said, nigga, you must be sick. All you talk about is just getting rich. Choke my neck, nigga, and ice my bitch. Beat the system with chains and whips. It don't take much to put two and two. Your lucky streak is now losing you. Money's dried up like a cuticle. You're gasping for air now, it's beautiful. John 10:10, that's my usual. Mamas is falling out in funerals. And bombing blows, they now viewing you. They never find the guns, but the sewers do. Bubbles was sick, he need medicine. Brought him back to life, now we're dead again. Richard don't make watches for presidents. Just a million trapped between skeletons. This the darkest that I ever been. The diamonds make you taste peppermint. You ain't driving the snow like it's the Revenant. And send orders back down to keep shoveling. Uncle said, nigga, you must be sick. All you talk about is just getting rich. Choke my neck, nigga, and ice my bitch. Beat the system with chains and whips.
You know, we get calling and look side to side like what did they say? And they ignore his voice, and then you realize that the devil is talking.
I'm not the candidate to vibe with. I don't fuck with the kumbaya shit. All that talent must be God sent. I send your ass back to the cosmics. The things I seen under my eyelids. Kaleidoscope dreams, murder and sirens. Let's be clear, hip-hop died again. Half of my profits may go to Rakim. How many Judases that let me down? But fuck it, the West minds me right now. Therapy showed me how to open up. It also showed me how I don't give a fuck. The two-time Gemini with the genocide. I'm generous, however you want it. I'll be the gentle kind. Gentlemen and gangsters connect. The agenda of mine. Move niggas up out of here. This shit get gentrified. Heavy jeans like Genevieve's. I drop your Pentagon and show up at your gender reveal. And tell them, give me mine. I son niggas, I am the general. Wear my gin and juice. Every song in the book of Genesis. Let the sonics boom. Niggas want the tea on me. Well, here's the ginger root. I generate residuals, bitch. Get off my genitals. They say I couldn't reach Gen Z. You fucking dickheads. You must be full of that ginseng. Here comes the jinx, yeah. They genetics been synthetic, screaming they genius. A finger wave, they all fall. Niggas is Jenga. God gave me light. A good year full of free will. Trump card, tell me not to spare your life. What the fuck?
You know, we get calling and look side to side like what did they say? And they ignore his voice, and then you realize that the devil is talking.
Kilos in my mind, back take Amtrak down south, then she flies back. My connect has ponytails tied back. I just hit 6 mil behind Tyvek. They content create, I despise that. I create content, then they tries that. Run these Jews, there's rules I don't buy back. I've topped all these lists, where's my prize at? 60-day stars and 20-year thousandaires. Not enough shopping, whole lot of browsing ads. My reinvention, I know you thinking how's it fair? You stream kings, but you never fit a crowd in there. Supreme team parallels when the powder clears. I seen things that I'm still not even proud to share. You Zeus Network niggas, you hear me loud and clear. Get these 5,500 to hosting niggas out of here. Sand color Rolls Royce, we like Saudi's here. The only Audi here is driven by my owl pair. Ghostface with the wrist, bird falconer. Willie Falcone, trunk full of talcum here. Shotgun with your ex feels like Malcolm's near. Send a hit through a text, ain't no shouting here. Bypass MIA, too much crowd in there. I spent summers with connects, love that mountain air. POV kilos in my mind, back take Amtrak down south, then she flies back. My connect has ponytails tied back. I just hit 6 mil behind Tyvek. They content create, I despise that. I create content, then they tries that. Run these Jews, there's rules I don't buy back. I've topped all these lists, where's my prize
okay,
at?
call me Mr. Brella, how I weather the storm. At 43 milli, I peel off like an orange. I got deaf and blind bitches trying to see what it do. Little feature niggas threatening to sue. Tell your lawyer to set the fee. LaFerrari doors open up like it's therapy. That number ain't bread to me. That million is crumbs. You niggas is bums. I'm not a tough guy. I'm a fly boy. Them beats get you stung. Oh, nah. Yeah, they will bust for me. Tricky niggas puzzle me. I could never buy a bitch a Birkin cause she fucking me. I got homes I ain't sleeping in. The options my nigga push. Keep dirty white moving like mosh pits. They watch it. I'm like white bitches the way I pop shit. I need God to play the lead in my biopic. The curse of the Z rolls where you become the devil or the tap dancing Negro. I came to terms that I'ma probably outgrow my hero. Come get with me.
POV kilos in my mind, back take Amtrak down south, then she flies back. My connect has ponytails tied back. I just hit 6 mil behind Tyvek. They content create, I despise that. I create content, then they tries that. Run these Jews, there's rules I don't buy back. I've topped all these lists, where's my prize at?
If they had to weigh the operation, call it obese. I mix it like my homes, then I tell them go deep. The rag top drop, playing hide and go seek. The Bentley leather match the pipe and that's the motif. Just to think I built a rap career off an OZ. I'm watching new niggas rap just to OD. If I didn't give you both sides, I wouldn't be me. I was the only one to walk away and really be free. As far as I'm concerned, I do really be he. I can open up my closet with the skeleton key. If I lied to myself, I could sell it to me. I just sung along with rappers I never believed. Came back for the money, that's the devil in me. Had to hide it from the church, that's the Jekyll in me. I never thought twice what the pressure would be, cause niggas' chains look just like oppression to me.
POV kilos in my mind, back take Amtrak down south, then she flies back. My connect has ponytails tied back. I just hit 6 mil behind Tyvek. They content create, I despise that. I create content, then they tries that. Run these Jews, there's rules I don't buy back. I've topped all these lists, where's my prize at?
All right, welcome. Woo, boy, I'm rusty. Welcome. Hope everybody has. Yeah, man, the hell with it, man. I hope y'all been doing well since I've been gone. Brother has enjoyed the brief break, vacay, whatever you want to call it. We back live in living color like we do each and every Sunday. Breaking down the latest and greatest from the world of sports, and of course, any other news that kind of comes across my desk that I find interesting, I want to present to the people. We're here to do that. Oh man, I am so rusty. When I say it's good to get out and touch grass and disconnect, I come back. StreamYard has got a whole, they've kind of changed up. The feng shui is different and buttons. It took me a minute, y'all. But anyway, go ahead and get into it. Yeah, this might be one of them fly by night quick shows, get in and get out. Hopefully we'll see. Give shouts out to the only one that has made themselves known, Teresa. How you doing, Miss Lady? Hope you enjoyed your break. Hope you enjoyed your break, man. But yeah, listen, before I kind of get into the sports stuff, man, listen, when I touch grass, man, traveled a little bit, couple day trips and stuff like that, couple flights and all that good stuff, man. It's enjoying life. And this, by time for me to kind of get back into the regular swing of things as far as the show is concerned, man. But I enjoyed myself. It was good to really disconnect from the content side of this thing, having to prepare clips and talking points and figure out how I'm gonna run the show and all of that good stuff. It just felt good to kind of get away from all of that for a while. Those that know, man, it's been steady since the day I started. It's been steady, trying to get in here and produce these shows and give whatever content I give, commentary I give, whatever that is. But man, it felt good. Brother is refreshed. Listen, I almost canceled this goddamn show today. Brother's out in the sun a little bit earlier, man, and that heat ain't no joke. But anyway, let's kind of get into it. We're going to start off, of course, talking about NBA free agency. It's still going. The NBA obviously is still going. Summer League has started. I guess some thoughts about Summer League, but for the most part, free agency, the major moves. Now there's still a major domino that could drop. And I'm looking over at LA, looking at the LeBron situation, but most of the major moves have kind of dropped as far as like who's got new money. I was going to keep it like that as far as extensions or re-signing and all of that kind of stuff. A couple trades happened over the NBA offseason that we're going to kind of get into. And then, of course, I like to talk about my favorite reality show. It has gotten a little weird and a little spicy since I've been gone. There's a couple things I wanted to kind of touch on. And then, of course, we do what we do, man. We get up out of here, man, and go on about our day. See somebody else still dropped in the clouds. I don't know, but Faye, for my second set in, I hope you are doing well. I hope you are enjoying your break and your time in the sun and touching grass. That is something that we heavily promote over here. Get out and touch grass, man. And I kind of get inside of that. It's my what is beautiful? I like to call it, the pool pit portion of the show. I get into that a little bit later as we kind of close out the show. But let's go ahead and get into this NBA free agency. Let's start with the probably biggest theme and takeaway that I got from the start of NBA free agency. Like I said, it's still currently going. There's still some I wouldn't say major moves. As far as like player movement, as far as that kind of stuff. Going on, most of the heavy hitters have are signed, re-signed, are already. Still a couple, I wouldn't say stars, but there's a couple guys out there still looking for deals. But let's kind of get into it. The major thing I took away from NBA free agency thus far, and I think this is what you're going to have to get used to. If you're an NBA fan, the days of guys going here and guys going there, and the money being passed around. How much the changes to the salary cap, how much that has affected the current state of NBA free agency. Teams are now looking at you here. If you've been watching and you've been following, the free agency moves, the trades and all that kind of stuff, you keep hearing about salary. Keep hearing about teams approaching the second apron and the negative effects of reaching the second apron and what teams are doing. Listen, the salary cap is, a major factor in how teams are moving, how teams are constructing contracts, how teams are looking to build their teams. Probably the biggest winner out of NBA free agency, since the second apron and the new salary cap rules have kind of gone in place over the last couple of years. I'd say probably the biggest winner for me is got to be the NBA owners. NBA owners. It's easier for them to, justify some of the moves that they're making, whether it's re-signing guys. Now we're going to talk about OKC and, how they, change course from what they've traditionally done in the past. But you look at what Boston Celtics did in moving the pieces they move. You move off of Drew Holiday, you move off of Porzingis, and those are salary cap moves. It didn't make your team better. You didn't really get equal value, in my opinion. You didn't really get equal value for those moves, but when you're approaching the second apron and the amount of money we're talking about diving into the luxury tax, we're not talking about chump change as far as like the penalties of getting into that part of the salary cap. You're talking about major, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars just for having those players, and on top of the growing salaries of players over the past decade or so. When you look at the kind of money that these guys are getting, how they're, really, kudos to the agents for working this system out, where guys are taking, shorter deals and really trying to maximize the amount of money, the players earn. But salary cap, I say the owners came out winners in this. You could justify moving off of those guys. You could, Boston can say, hey, we moved our Porzingis, we moved our Drew Holiday. The casual fan may think, oh, it's because they're older players, but those guys are still high level players. But ownership looked at it, hey, we got Tatum on board, we got Jaylen Brown on board, you got Derek White making crazy money. You still have other players. You had to kind of re-sign some of those role players on that team. And when you looked at it, what Porzingis brings to the team, yes, if they could have got him for the right price, he'd still been on the team. Same thing with Drew Holiday; he would still been on the team. But when you're talking about the kind of money that was looking to get paid for the remainder of their deal, Boston could justify, hey, we had to move off of these guys. We was getting close to the second apron, and like the penalty and the money that comes along with getting to the second apron and the salary cap. I may have to do a show just on kind of explaining, how that the change to the salary cap is how that really affects teams' bottom line. But the owners for me won. They're the biggest winners. Any moves that they made or not re-signing guys. You look at the situation out there in Minnesota. Nicole Alexander, him not being re-signed, him moving on to Atlanta because Minnesota didn't want to go into the second apron of the luxury tax. They had re-signed the guys they wanted to re-sign. In a perfect world, would they have wanted to keep them? Yeah, but what you have the penalties of the second apron in place as far as the NBA salary cap, Minnesota couldn't afford it. They didn't want to go into that. Now, on the flip side, another winner of this NBA offseason so far, I look at OKC. OKC, the defending NBA champions, re-signed. Hey, beautiful. It's been a minute. Beautiful. I'm rusty. You got to bear with me tonight. I'm rusty. I ain't been on nothing. I ain't been on the microphone or nothing. I'm a little rusty. You got to bear with me. But I think I got a good message tonight. I saw a quote a couple of days ago. I wouldn't say it's a quote. Someone kind of painted a perfect picture of something, and I think I can twist that. Hey, Steph, how you doing? I think I can twist it into some kind of story. But back to the NBA portion of the show. Then, of course, I like to get into my reality show, the Trump administration, to kind of get my views and thoughts on that. And make sure, I'm glad to see you and I'm here. Appreciate it. Beautiful. I'll probably be doing a show in the other space on probably on Tuesday. I really want to get into breaking down this Clips album, some of the Drake stuff, and of course some of the other stuff that we talk about as far as like the entertainment portion of it. I don't want to do that here, but we'll probably get together on Tuesday. I'll probably put something together, and we'll kind of do the show over there. Have a little fun with it, and some other entertainment news. Okay, let's go. Yeah, so we'll probably do that on Tuesday. We'll probably do that on Tuesday. I'm rusty. Give me a sec. All right, so excuse me. I'm back. So yeah, we'll do that on Tuesday. Great, that's my day off. Yeah, so we'll do that Tuesday. Beautiful. And like I said, I want to get into the whole Clips album. Listen, album of the year, and I would say I enjoyed it a little bit more than Kendrick's GNX, but we'll say that for Tuesday, because I don't want to kind of give that its own show. But of course, I got some other stuff I want to kind of get into then. But back to the NBA stuff. Let me remain focused. Let me remain focused. But yeah, OKC, another big winner. They re-signed SG3, re-signed him to a big deal. Re-signed Jay Will, the other all-star player from this past season. They signed him to a nice long-term extension. Probably the most surprising extension, I thought they might have waited on doing this contract, was Chet Holmgren, but they re-signed him. Stay focused, brother. Other. I just found this with Steph. I'll get the word out to you. I'll get the word out to you before Tuesday. Yeah, you make sure you I would love you to kind of come participate in that one because it's more it's a little nerd talk. It's a little nerd talk. We in the other space we it's like movies, manga, whatever entertainment. It's not as no serious tones. It's just yeah. We'll I get the word to you. I get the word to you. The eyes in the sky. Oh, beautiful day. Hey, we have a good time. Just but the eyes in the sky. But I get the word out to you. What's going on, Unc, man? I hope you're doing well, man. Listen, Unc, I'm rusty, man. You gotta bear with me. But back to OKC. I think they learned from the mistakes of the past. The last time they had a trio of players of this caliber, you're talking about the KD, Westbrook, Harden era. They made a decision based on money. Then I think OKC looking at the window, looking at the collective landscape of where the NBA is headed as far as the days of putting big threes together. I think that era is over. I think with the success of OKC, also with the success of the Indiana Pacers this past season, hey, you build a team. You have your core players, you keep that core together and you add depth to that. The days of just putting guys together, superstar players together, I think that era is over. I think this is the new era of the NBA, and OKC is, seizing that opportunity, and looking at the window because, now that you signed Jay Will, you signed your big guys back to these extensions, you got your ring. This is the time to maximize your window. This is time to maximize your window, your championship window, and go all in. Most of the guys are under contract. There's a couple contracts. We've kind of gotten to that in the past that could be coming up over the next season or two. But I look at OKC, I look at them as well to keep that core together, run it back, and but I was actually Chet Hogan contract kind of shocked me. I thought they might wait on that one. Supremely talented player, but a guy who's had injury concerns since he's come into the league. A 15-8 guy, a defensive force, but I don't know if I would have paid him the kind of money. What he got paid is what you give guys who are typically all-star caliber players, superstar caliber players. Especially in today's NBA. I'm not really yeah, listen, Steph, OKC that regardless of how you look at them being in what you call a quote unquote small market. Okay, Sam Presti has done a fantastic job not only identifying talent through even before this championship run here. He's done a great job identifying talent and taking advantage of the salary cap and making those moves and building the team the right way. You look at OKC, it's not a team that's built on bringing in a mass amount of free agents. Most of these guys are homegrown talent. You bring in key contributors, but a lot of these guys are homegrown talent who have been with the organization for a very long time. He's done a very good job of building this team. Sam Presti is a mastermind of working. When you look at the amount, and listen, and this is a team that is rich. I'm talking about as far as talent-wise now. What's going on, Nap? Many in the Knicks both ended their season deep. Yeah, listen, you gotta build depth. But back to talking about OKC, taking advantage, and you look at the amount of picks that they have coming up. This is a team that is going to be able to retool. They might be able to move a player to with a draft pick. And, this is a team that can still kind of tweak their roster, but they looked at the landscape of where other teams was kind of moving as far as like moving off of money. And you look at what they've done in Boston. I don't think anybody could look at Boston going into the next year as seriously as a championship contender, especially with no Tatum. And moving off Porzingis and Holiday, that's the team that's taking a step back. There's some other moves that can be made, but I think teams took a step to get a little closer. But I don't really look at outside of maybe Houston right now is really a serious challenger to a OKC repeat. And Sam Presti did the right thing. Let's cash in. Let's keep this window open as much as possible. So I like the moves. Another. Of course, I think I got into it the last time I was, live doing this stuff, but I like the KD move to Houston. It's something that, we kind of talked about this. I don't think it's, going to take them over the top. I think OKC is going to have a better record than them throughout the regular season, but I think bringing in KD, when you looked at Houston team last year, especially if you watched them during their brief, and I mean brief playoff appearance, this is a team that needed a guy that knows how to close. It was already a talented team, a very good young team, a very well-coached team. Ime Udoka has done a very good job of changing the culture down there in Houston, but you needed a guy that can close. And I don't look at KD as coming in and having to carry Houston. I think, Houston's biggest priority with KD is going to be, can you get to the offs? Can you get to the second half of the season? Can you get to the playoffs healthy? KD has had his injury concerns, especially over the last couple of years as he's gotten older. I look at, Houston bringing in KD. You didn't really have to give up too much. I thought he was supposed to do that in Phoenix. Well, now I look at Phoenix, and Phoenix is, a prime example of, why that big three era way of putting together a team is dead. You had something there. Prior to KD getting there, in Phoenix, I think it was the last team to really kind of say, we're going to put a big three together. You bring in KD, you have a little success in the playoffs, and you feel like, oh, let's go get another superstar, because, the big three model is kind of been the formula for success for some teams, especially you talking about the last 15 years, there's that big three kind of model of putting superstars together and, just getting some others to kind of do it. Has been the model. But I look at Phoenix, the moment they brought in, KD, it changed the dynamic of the team. When you talk about the guys that they got rid of, how that changed, the layout of the team. But then you bring in Bradley Beal, that was a lesson for a lot of that was a lesson for a lot of NBA teams that, hey, that big three model really doesn't work. You can really have a big two and kind of build in, but you got to have some depth in today's NBA. Depth got OKC to the ring. Depth got Indiana to the finals. That is in the NBA and sports in general. It's a copycat league. If it works for one organization, if they're able to pull it off and get similar success, they're going to do it. But yeah, I look at the KD move. It's 50-50. If KD's healthy, I think that's always the biggest question mark as he's got older in his career. If KD is healthy, and I look at Houston being, a real tough opponent for OKC. I think that was kind of what held Houston back. This is a young team. Some of those guys had not been in that position when you talk about playoff pressure. And you look at Golden State, they was definitely able to take advantage of this team being, young and inexperienced. And, you gave up the number 10 draft pick. You gave up Jalen Green, who I think is a supremely talented player. But if you watch that playoff run against Golden State, outside of 2 games, he was kind of on a milk carton. You could tell that the moment was too much for him. He was overwhelmed. And if I'm Houston, okay, I want to make maximize what I have here while I can. And so I like the moves that Houston made. I'm able to bring back Van Fleet on a more team friendly deal. Able to keep Adams, and you bring in Capella, so you have a trio of big men that all bring something a little bit different from each other. I think Sengun is going to be looked at again for another potential all-star spot this upcoming season. But I like what Houston did in the offseason. I like what Houston did as far as navigating those waters, not really spending a whole lot. Yeah, you bring in KD, but the contracts kind of matched up. So Houston is a team I'm going to be watching. Like I said, I'm not expecting. I'll be honest with you, I'm not expecting KD to have to carry Houston throughout the season. It just stay healthy. I think Houston's playing, they stay healthy. We got guys, Tari Eason, Sengun's going to get better. Jabari Smith is going to get better. Thompson is going to get better. Allow them to kind of carry us for large stretches of the season. When KD, we brought you in here to be the closer, to be the go-to guy. So I'm curious to see how that kind of works out for them. I like what Denver did. You bring in, you get off Michael Porter Jr., who I've been saying, if you've been listening to the show, who I've been saying they should have got off of, after the ring is Michael Porter Jr. What they was paying. How many years Jalen Green been in the NBA? I think Jalen Green's been in the NBA about 4 to 5 years. I think he's been in the league about 4 to 5 years. Let's see. I like him. I think he's going to do well in Phoenix. I think he's going to do well in Phoenix. Playing alongside Booker, I like how they kind of fit. But if I give up the number 10 pick, who Phoenix turned into the big man from Duke, and Jalen Green for KD. Yeah, I mean I think that's a win-win for everybody. You got Phoenix is what we talked about. Coming off the All-Star, I think Phoenix, tearing all of that down. You had to. Now the only albatross in the room is what do you do with Bradley Beal? Of course, he's one of the players with a no trade clause in his contract. So how does that work? They got off of Dame. Milwaukee got off of Dame. I'm surprised Phoenix hasn't 86 his ass. But anyway, but yeah, I like what Denver did. It was very subtle. You get off with Michael Porter Jr., you bring in a guy Cam Johnson, a guy who can create his own shot, is a little bit more consistent and it's a little bit more healthy than Michael Porter Jr. You bring in Tim Hardaway Jr., you bring in Bruce Brown, who you brought back from your championship team. Denver pushed OKC to 7 last year. And as we've talked about, hey, you need depth, you need depth. Denver just kind of ran out of gas. Jokic just ran out of gas in the 7-game series. So, they took the steps to bring in Valanciunas, who was kind of, dancing with the idea of going to Europe to go play. But, Denver holds his rights. But you bring in Valanciunas to, give quality minutes, bench minutes to a big man, so it allows Jokic to rest. Denver could be right back in the mix. As far as the challenging in the Western Conference. I like what they did. Now let's kind of get into the big albatross in the room. And this is for my Lakers fan. This is a big albatross in the room. Of course, we know LeBron re-signed, took the player option for his, second year of his deal. We plan next year for about $53 million. And this kind of is left Los Angeles. I'm going to talk about the team first, and then I'm going to speak on from the fan perspective. Talk about the team first. Them not offering him a long-term contract, for LeBron long-term at this age, at this point in his career, is a 2-year deal. They're not wanting to do a long-term extension. Sends a strong signal to LeBron and his camp that, hey, it may be time for you to kind of move on with LeBron. Opting to take the player option, take the second year, $53 million, which is, kind of put the team in a tight little spot as far as the salary cap is concerned, because it's, the Lakers, just like everybody else, it's not a team that's trying to go deep into the luxury tape. They're not trying to go into the second apron where we're talking about, hundreds of millions of dollars, for player rosters and that kind of stuff. This is kind of, I look at this as kind of a Mexican standoff. I look at this as a Mexican standoff from the eyes of the team and from the eyes of LeBron. Has also been reported over the last couple of days that 4 teams have kind of reached out to gauge the Lakers' interest in a possible trade. They reached out to Rich Paul, since LeBron is the other player with a no trade clause in his contract. to kind of gauge. That's exactly, you're right, because it's a Mexican standoff. To kind of gauge his interest in possibly coming to those organizations. I know it's been reported the Dallas Mavericks have reached out, to Rich Paul, to kind of gauge interest in there. I know Cleveland has reached out. I want to say the Clippers were another team that has possibly reached out. And this is LeBron is finding himself in a very, very weird position. I don't think LeBron has been in this position ever in his NBA career, where a team is willing to move on from you. LeBron has always kind of, held the keys to the kingdom, whatever franchise he's played for, whether it be Cleveland, whether it be Miami, and during the first 7 years of his stint in LA, LeBron has always kind of held the keys to the kingdom. But when you look back at the Luka Doncic trade, that was the Lakers not only getting them a young superstar, building, getting a real building piece for the future. I look at Rob Pelinka saying, hey, LeBron for a lot of times has had to, in a literal sense, had the gun to the organization's heads, like, I'm LeBron James. You're going to bring in players that fit me. You're going to, bring in guys that they kind of fit what I want to do and, my vision for what'll make this team successful. I look at Rob Pelinka with the Luka Doncic trade saying, hey, let me point to go. What's going on, Gio? But it's time for LeBron. Listen, I'm going to talk about the fans' perspective on that in just a second. But Rob Pelinka got himself a gun and pointed it back at LeBron, like, we don't need you no more. And I think LeBron, has found himself in a very weird position. That's why I'm not surprised that he took the player option for the second year, re-signing with the team, and kind of point the gun back at the Lakers. Like, what are you going to do? If I'm LA, I'm exploring every option at this point. Whether I've got to, trade him to a place that he want. I want LeBron up out of it. If I'm the organization, this is a turning point off season for the Los Angeles Lakers. You've also heard reports from LeBron's camp that he's kind of, he took the second year option to kind of see what the Lakers were going to do, and he wants to be playing for a championship caliber team, and that usual kind of talk. But this is a power play. This is a power play. LeBron still holds the pieces because he does hold the no trade clause still in his deal. But if Rob Pelinka said, hey, I would reach out to Rich Paul today. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would reach out to Rich Paul today. Go find a deal for your guy. We don't want to be bothered. We don't want to. Now, if he's going to be here, we'll work it out as far as that. But if he doesn't, we don't want to hear. We're trying to turn the page. We've got his replacement. And like I said, this is the first time in 20 plus years that LeBron has kind of found himself in a situation where you don't have the power. I will go to the Clippers and get them their first chip. I mean, yeah. Like I said, the Clippers have kind of reached out. Clippers have kind of reached out to Rich Paul. Like I said, LeBron still kind of holds that chip, the no trade clause, because I think, let me be honest with you, if LeBron didn't have the no trade clause, I think the Lakers would have traded his ass this offseason. Anyway, would have moved off of LeBron anyway. Probably would have moved off of him during the season. I think it's time for him to move on. The Lakers have clearly made it, clear. We're not putting guys together to fit your style of ball. We want to put guys in here that fits, Luka's style of ball. We appreciate what you've done for the organization, but I'm Rob Pelinka. I'm reaching out to Rich Paul today. Hey, go find your guy a deal. Cleveland could be, in the mix, seriously in the mix. You don't even have to leave LA. We'll see what the Clippers are offering us. You can go right down the hall and go play for them. As a fan, you kind of hate to see, one of the greats kind of, be in this position, but this is life in the NBA. And eventually, the house wins. Eventually the house wins. If I'm LeBron, it's nothing left for me to do with the Lakers. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a fan of the team. The Lakers are not a championship caliber team right now. When you look at the roster, yes, you bring in Aiden, you bring in DeAndre Ayton. This is not a championship caliber roster. This is not a team that has the depth to really push to the upper echelon of the Western Conference. You have Luka in place. It's been reported, depending on who you ask, Luka has gotten into. He's still top 20 in the league. Yeah, I agree with y'all, but at this point, you trying to say I'm gonna wait and see. The Lakers is not much out there they can do to really improve this team. And LeBron is saying like that's so vague. That's when superstar players say that kind of stuff. Like I'm trying to see what the team does as far as bringing a championship. What does that look like? But basically, what you're saying is I got a list of guys that I would love for the team to try to acquire to bring in here. But I think the Lakers, with Luka coming into town, it's like we appreciate your list, but we're not building around you anymore. And I think this is a bit of a culture shock. Do y'all think age plays a part? No, damn, I don't think it's an age thing. LeBron is still playing at a high, very high level. Still playing at all-star caliber level. But the organization, like I said, this is the first time in his career where the organization has really had some kind of ammo to kind of push back and like, yeah, we've moved on from you. You don't hold the cards. We're not building a team, to your skill set, to your talent. Now, if you want to be a part of what we're building here, we're building around Luka. And him, like I said, him taking the $53 million for this upcoming season is a clear sign of the organization that LeBron is not willing to play ball. He could have opted out, not took the option, came back on a more team friendly deal. It's not, let's keep it a bug. It's not like LeBron need money. It's not like he's down and out playing at the vets minimum. LeBron is, we're talking about a $billion athlete. So it's not a money thing, but it was a power play, and I believe those reports that teams have kind of reached out. Now, are you going to get, equal return on a LeBron James trade? Equal is relative. I don't think you're getting a superstar caliber player. But I think you can get some maybe all-star level-ish type players. I don't think you're getting a superstar for LeBron. If I'm LeBron, I'm telling my agent Rich Paul, like, look, see what's out there. Tell let it be known, hey, if this is a situation, bring that to me and see what it is, and let's move on. This, I wouldn't call this a messy divorce, but Rob Pelinka got him a new thing. He got him a new boo thing, and nothing wrong with the old one. But he's got him a different model. I wouldn't say better. Because I don't put Luke in that category yet. But it's like, hey, I had fun in the Maybach. But now I'm rolling in something else. There's nothing wrong with the Maybach. It still runs, but I got me something else. Nap says the league needs LeBron right now. They have no face or salesman. I mean, for name stature, yeah, but I look at if you've been watching summer league so far, the kind of hype and focus they've seen on Cooper. Listen, the NBA is really, 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 really banking on Cooper Flag. If you look at the coverage that them summer league games got, he's only played in 2. They've already kind of shut him down. If you look at the coverage that he's got, they're really banking on Cooper Flag, really pushing for that face for the NBA in a very, very near future. So, like I said, the league move. Listen, eventually the league moves on. I don't think anybody sees that mantle. You know, I think say Shea, you know, I think if Shea was American, you know, him being a Canadian player kind of works against him with the casual fan. But listen, Cooper Flag, the kind of coverage that he's gotten for Summer League, you know, we're talking about, you know, the media and all of that, the scrutiny. If he pans out and be 75% of what a lot of people think he could be with his skill set, listen, Cooper Flag could be you know, pushed in. I'm saying I don't think it's right. Bron is done. Well, speak Greasy. What's going on? Oh, you coming in hot. If you're not loyal to your old city, how do you expect another team to be loyal to you? Well, you know, money talks. Come on, speak. You know, like money talk, bullshit, run a marathon. Bullshit run makes sense. Okay, but you know, Cooper Flag could be the next face. And they're gonna push. Listen, they're gonna push Cooper. If you haven't been watching Summer League, they're gonna push the hell out of Cooper Flag. They're gonna push the hell. He's let's keep it a buck. American born white player that's got some skills, got a little personality, got a game that can sell tickets, is a name, is you know, a certified name brand. He may not be the best player to come out of this draft. If we look back on it 5 years from now, but he is, you know, he is the name right now. He is the name right now. Bron, I'm gonna say Bron is done speaking. Let's stop, brother. Sundays, what's going on, good sir? Hey, I caught the replay of you know, side note, I caught the replay of the convo. You've been active. You've been active. You know, caught your replay, and I was digging portions. I would say portions of the conversation with you and the good brother Big Rig, man. I really enjoyed that. I really I really enjoyed that. Old school, new school. Yeah, I like, you know, I fuck with the music, man. I watched him play here. Right. Yeah, you know, I think, you know, Cooper Flag is not for me a transcendent NBA player. But listen, they're finna push the hell out of him. Listen, they're finna push the hell out of Cooper Flag. If you have, like I said, if you haven't been watching Summer League coverage, and how much hype they put in the Cooper Flag, I'm telling you, you missing out. Go back up here. You know, I ain't using my chat being this active. Nap says, you know, SJ can't sell the league. Yeah, he's, you know, he's not a personality. Yeah, I think, you know, that's what the NBA also wants in their quote unquote face of the league. A guy that's got some flair, got some personality. There was hope that Zion could be that, but he can't push away from the buffet table. Ja Morant can't stay away from, you know, the thug life kind of behavior off the court. That's kind of hurt him. You look at Anthony Edwards, the NBA really can't push him with, you know, the off the court baby mama drama stuff that he's got going on. Listen, they're putting a lot of eggs in their basket. I'm telling you, they're putting a lot of eggs in their basket. Back to the clouds about to call it. Okay, with DMO, you have a good night, ma'am. Beautiful say I won't speak. Legend goes on. Come on, beautiful. That's too much pressure. Come on now. That's that much swagoo on a panel. Come on. But yeah, they're Cooper Flag. They're really, the NBA is banking on him. They're listen. I wouldn't be surprised if they got guys. He's got handlers at this point. Like, they're gonna keep him squeaky clean. They're gonna nothing off the board. Like, listen, they're pushing the hell out of him. They're gonna push the hell out of him. And when you look at the situation that he's in Dallas, Dallas is a, you know, a nice sized market. You know, AD is there. You know, Kyrie came back on the team friendly deal. They're going to be able to kind of add some pieces. As you know, Dallas was one of those teams that kind of reached out, you know, to Rich Paul could see LeBron in Dallas, and that, I mean, come on, that does be the perfect scenario for the NBA. LeBron passing the torch to the next generation. Oh, listen, if you can script it, if the NBA could, if Adam Silver could script it, he would definitely love LeBron to go to Dallas, and that be his final season, and he passes the torch to Cooper Flag. Listen, the NBA would love that from a marketing standpoint. Your brother was saying Tatum is too. Like I say, Tatum just doesn't resonate with the general public. Like, basketball fans appreciate Tatum a lot more than the media does. They just kind of look at Tatum like he's a good player, great player. But he just don't have. When you look at the players that have personality, those are not the guys that the NBA is really wanting to push, because they got so many issues off the court. Oh, he needs Clippers or Cleveland. I think if I'm LeBron, I think Cleveland makes the most sense. As far as championship, when you look at Boston, kind of, it's going to be taking a step back this year with the injuries and the moves that they made. Cleveland makes the most sense in that aspect. I mean, it's a lot of potential storylines for LeBron if he goes to the Clippers. Revenge on the Lakers. He gets little brother their first championship. Possibly. It's a lot of storylines. And listen, the NBA is loving the fact that LeBron and his camp maybe even entertaining him being traded. It's a lot of storylines. Like, he goes back to Cleveland, ends it where he starts it. That helps NBA rate. I guarantee you, LeBron goes back to Cleveland. You're going to see Cleveland more marquee games than they were this past season, and when they had a fantastic record, had the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. But listen, they're going to be all over your TV. LeBron back in Cleveland, 3rd time's the charm. Oh, come on, man. This stuff writes themselves. It writes themselves, but in the basketball sense, yeah, Cleveland would make sense, but it all depends on what Cleveland gives up to get LeBron. But listen, LeBron, going to Dallas, him teaming with Cooper Flag. Listen, that's how the NBA is going to push it. I don't think, it's going to be all that on the court, but I'm talking about just from a marketing standpoint. Yeah, the NBA is going to look at it like that. Like, hey, Cooper Flag, he's the next generation. He's the next, face of the NBA. LeBron is there to pass the torch, and the storylines write themselves when he goes to the Clippers. Like I said, it's wherever he decides to go. The NBA is and he's not just going anywhere. He's definitely going to go to a place where he feels like he can compete for a championship. Like I said, Cleveland to me makes the most sense when you kind of look at the roster, but it all depends on what they kind of got to give up. But I look at the East. Pacers are going to take a step back. Halliburton, is currently slated to not play next year. Pacers lose Miles Turner in free agency. You don't know what the Bucks are necessarily going to do. They bring in Miles Turner, they waive, Dame, and get rid of him. Giannis has kind of been quiet on those moves, but Cleveland makes the most sense. If I'm LeBron, Cleveland makes the most sense as far as being championship ready as of right now. Cool. Watch it. I'm telling you, watch this up. Cooper Flag. Listen, Cooper Flag, stay healthy. Mark my words, y'all. If Cooper Flag stays healthy, and Dallas is playing, let's say Dallas is battling for 4th or 5th seed by close to the All-Star break, I wouldn't be surprised if you start to see Cooper Flag name, in as far as the fan voting, being up there for an All-Star appearance. Listen, they're ready to put the machine behind this young man. They ready to put a rocket behind this young man. They have been slowly building the hype around this young man. They have groomed, and I hate to say that word because we'll be talking about later, but they have groomed him to where you've becoming familiar with him. The whole draft process, it was Cooper Flagg and everybody else. And like I said, he may not even be the best player coming out of this draft when we look at it from 5 years from now, but they're ready to strap the rocket to his ass and send it to the moon. An American-born player. I'm telling you, he has any kind of success. Let Cooper Flagg go out there and average 15, 5 boards, 4 assists. And they're gonna be pumping him to the moon. Is going to be pumping him to the moon. The only problem with him is going east his body. Well, I mean, I think if anybody body is any player that invests in their body enough to kind of deal with the rigors of that kind of a move, it's got to be LeBron. If Ja Morant had to come back here, that can resurrect the league. Cooper just got finished gagging it. But that don't matter, because when they paint the narrative, when they paint the narrative of this freshman player took Duke to the Final Four, just having to carry. This is how the media kind of has wrote that narrative. He had to carry them. Let's not forget he had other NBA type talent on the team. He had to carry them to the Final Four, and he just, it got to be too much, and the fatigue caught up with playing at such a high level. I'm just saying. Damn, speak. All right, hold on. Let me screenshot that. Cooper Flagg is not better than Bronny. Now, this is the same guy that said Bronny need to be taking orders at Burger King. Said he needed to be overseas somewhere. I can't believe we got that clip. And it was now I don't think Houston is really in play. I think if LeBron had let it be known that he wanted to potentially move before they made the KD move, I think Houston could have been in play, but I don't think they're in play now. Clippers, I don't know really what you give up to pull that off, because whether he wants to get traded there or not, I need some assets, and Clippers don't really hold a lot of their first round picks like that. A lot of those picks went to OKC, so I don't really think seriously the Clippers are in play, but Cleveland definitely. I can see that move being made. I could definitely see that move being made. But yeah, Ja and Embiid, I like Ja. Ja's an exciting player, but the issues he had a couple years ago off the court kind of caused the NBA to kind of pull back from him. Because Ja Morant was giving the NBA those Allen Iverson type vibes, like, yeah, we don't, we really, corporate America ain't really feeling that thug energy, I guess, and that's in their eyes. How about before the season start? Let me see what y'all got you. And like I said, used to LeBron be gone by the All-Star break. If I'm LeBron, I go ahead and get it. If I can move now, move now. I mean, when you look at the landscape of what's still out there, what the salary cap kind of looks like for the Lakers, you're not building a championship team between now and the All-Star break. So if I'm LeBron, tell Rich Paul, get Rob Pelinka on the phone, and let's talk about possible destinations. I'm up out of here. I'm up out. This is I'm a Lakers fan, but Lakers ain't winning no chip next year, and I don't give a damn what kind of shape Luka comes in. This is not a championship level team. It's just not. It's just defensively, you didn't get better. Scoring is cool, but eventually you got to get stops. And like I said, be a championship level team. This team didn't have to be a top 10 defense. They didn't have to be locked down, but you know, when your top three players kind of mail it in on most nights on the defensive end, like this is not a championship level team. So what are you waiting for? What move are you waiting for the Lakers to make to where you said, well, what piece can they bring in now? With, like I said, the landscape being what it is, what moves can the Lakers make to really say, yo, I'm locked in. I want to be part of this. This is a championship. Like, no, I'm just, you know, might as well get your move, talk to Rich and move now. Why even wait till the season kind of starts? Summer league has already started. Let's go ahead and make the move, LeBron. I'm pretty sure Rob Pelinka sleep well at night, knowing that you out the door. He got your replacement this past season. And whether this, you feel comfortable with this being a weird spot or not, don't matter. Your ass is grass. It's time to go. Speak say Cooper has a brother named Ace who should be in the league next year. But he's not as good as Coop. Bron's trying to hitch a ride to it. Well, I mean, whether let's say he goes to Cleveland, he becomes the alpha when you look at Cleveland. We talked about it this past season. I like Donovan Mitchell, but Donovan Mitchell is he ain't that dude. If LA, let's say LA was potential, let's say this kind of just throwing it out there. If LA's able to bring in Darius Garland, Jared Allen, and a pick or two for LeBron, Cleveland, I'm doing it. Well, I'm just saying, I'm doing it. But I like Spider, but he ain't that. He ain't that. I mean, and LeBron is, I don't see nothing wrong with chasing the final ring, chasing number 5. I mean, what else do you have? I mean, when you look at LA's not a championship team. What is there left to accomplish here? Your legacy is forever going to be what it is with the Lakers. I don't care if LeBron wins a championship. Listen, I'll be honest with you. LeBron wins a championship with the Lakers this year. Guess what? It don't move him up in the Laker pantheon. You don't leapfrog over anybody. You're still gonna be behind Kobe. You're still gonna be behind Magic. You're still gonna be behind Shaq. You're still gonna be behind Kareem. You're gonna still be behind Jerry West. It don't matter. Like, you could win a ring this year. It doesn't raise your stock in the eyes of Lakers fans. You ain't them dude. Not to say that you ain't all time great. I'm not. You're definitely, just regardless of what Speak Greasy wants the people to believe when he gets up here. Him and Han, you're definitely top 5. But as far as Lakers is confirmed, like, nah. No, because you weren't really bred here. You weren't. You ain't gonna move up past them dudes. So might as well go to Cleveland. I mean, the story writes itself. What's the year out in Cleveland? And it's not like LeBron ain't got the money to travel back and forth to his home in LA. I mean, the kids is damn near out of the house. You got baby girl still there, but hey, it ain't like she a toddler. Go chase a ring. I mean, 20 plus years in the league. Why not chase the ring? What the hell are you playing for if you ain't chasing the ring? So, but anyway, but seriously, John, I mean, he can still move. Listen, I agree. He can still move the needle. LeBron still moves the needle. Just, I think Cleveland makes the most sense. And that I don't think Nap. I gotta give you some pushback on that one. I gotta give you some pushback on that one. That, like, the worst decision. I look at him going to the Lakers. More or less. The prestige of playing with the Lakers, but I look at that as more of a outside of the NBA type move. When you look at some of the deals and stuff that he's kind of gotten done, some of the ventures he's got going on since he's moved to LA, I look at that as more of a business move. Going to LA, I look at that more of a business move going to LA. So I I don't think it I don't think that's the worst decision in his career. Like that was made with my off the court business being a focus, in making that decision. He just retired. That would be to talk for 6 months and give cover to. I don't listen. I don't think. I honestly, if he goes out here and plays at the level, let's say he plays at the level he played at last year. Let's go off of that. LeBron in today's NBA, he could seriously get another 2 to 3 years. I mean, we could be talking about LeBron in year 25. That is a real option. Let's say he goes to Cleveland, win a ring. That could be the walk-off moment, but I'm just saying. He could win 5. He'll never be a Laker, especially after Kobe's death. Yeah. Nap is some truth to that. Like I don't care what he did in LA. No one is going to look at you as a Laker great. It's just you're just not. I mean, I hate to break it to LeBron stands out there. But you're just not in that category. LeBron is up there, but Larry Nance. Okay. Speak this talking greasy. He's trying to get something started. Listen, speak. I'm still up on the scoreboard, man. I mean, but the Lakers do have a future. Little speak, purple and gold. You heard it here first. Well, I like to do my prediction. I like to call myself the Oracle. Little speak, gonna be in purple and gold one day. You heard it here. And I'm gonna have his daddy speak. He's gonna get me courtside tickets to a Lakers game. I mean, courtside. I'm gonna have a little speak. What jersey number can I give him? I'm gonna have a little speak jersey, purple and gold. You heard it here first. We have been scouting him. We wait for him to, get to college and do his one and done, and we gonna bring him in. We're gonna stash him. In the summer league, and he's going to be little speak is going to be a Laker. You heard it here first. But anyway, let me get to the second part of brother. Listen, I am rusty. I am rusty. At that time off, I enjoyed it, but listen, I am rusty as hell because I do want to get into my favorite reality TV show, which is following the Trump presidency, and this has been a very interesting weekend for that camp. Let me try to clear some of the stuff up. The Epstein files. The Epstein files. This story continues to unravel. It continues to be an albatross for the Trump administration. Great conversation, guys. Yeah, our favorite reality TV shows where we all are unwilling participants in it. The Epstein files. This I'm not going to really kind of get into the Epstein case. If you don't know, do your research. I'm not here for that. But this has been a major flashpoint. They got Trump on videotaping those. Listen, if you were paying attention, well, I'm just kind of back it up. Here's one thing: if you've been watching and monitoring politics, especially with the Republican Party, the Republican Party more so than the Democratic Party, and this is talking about in general. The Republican Party loves conspiracies. They love to talk about the deep state. They love to talk about cover-ups. They love to talk about, underhanded, that conspiracy type, the QAnon stuff. They love to talk about that kind of stuff. And with the Epstein files, the Trump administration, that was a major talking point during the campaign. Outside of the Project 2025 stuff, the major stuff, we're coming in to clean up the swamp. That was, the thought process behind Doge. We're coming in to clean up the swamp, and government cover-ups and government waste and all of that kind of stuff. Listen, the Republican Party loves yeah, he's spazzing out, definitely on. But that's something that he kind of ran his camp, like, we're going to be above board, we're going to get rid of all of that, deep state kind of stuff, the Epstein files. We're going to release it, because what they love, that the far right, I want to call it this Republican Party in general, they love the the conspiracy. Yeah, that's kind of their realm. Yeah, I mean, listen, that is dangerous stuff to promote. Now you have to deliver. Like, we're going to release it. Just earlier this year, we're going to release the Epstein files. They invited certain social media influencers to the White House, and they had these clowns walking out with these packets. Like, that's just the first round of the Epstein files, and we're going to release it all. We're going to be transparent, and it's no government cover up here. This is something complete. This is the new Washington. This is making America great again. Well, people have been waiting for the release of those files. You had Attorney General Pam Bondi saying she's got the client. She was reviewing the client list. Or they was Listen, they was hyping it up. Oh, it's coming. You did the whole dog and pony show with the social media influencers. We're gonna release it. Then people started really kind of paying attention and saying, hold up, we ain't got nothing. What's going on? Then it kind of kicks back up, comes back into the forefront a little bit when Elon and Trump have their kind of tit for tat. And Elon kind of alludes without coming out and saying that he's in the Epstein files. Now, this is like the M for MAGA. This is like the imperfect storm on so many levels, because you have your people. I'm talking about the people you work for. You had Kash Patel on these podcasts talking about the Epstein files. You had Pam Bondi all on Fox News talking about the Epstein files. Then the DOJ releases a statement that, well, it's nothing to see here. It's no files. We don't know what you're talking about. And people start recalling what you were saying, the kind of stuff you was putting out, the whole dog and pony show behind the Epstein files. And I'm gonna tell you why this is an imperfect storm. I'm gonna clarify that in a minute. It's gonna make a little bit more sense. But this is you start promoting it and you're not delivering it. Then you come out and say it's no files. And back to what you were saying, the crash out is real with Trump, because now your party, and when I say your party, I'm talking about the general MAGA public. You are failing to deliver. Now you're talking heads that was all behind you, exposing the deep state and releasing the Epstein files. Your Steve Bannons of the world, your Charlie Kirks of the world. They're looking really. Matter of fact, I got some clips. I got some clips. Bear with me, y'all. It's been a minute. Yeah, make sure you tune in. Definitely beautiful, because I got I got to break down the clips out, man, and Drake, but it's getting a little hairy for a lot of reasons. Like I said, this is an imperfect storm for them, and I'm gonna explain that a little bit deeper. Let me get a couple of these clips out, because where is it at? Yeah, here we go. Check this out. This is earlier this week from Fox News. Okay, am I queued up? All right, here we go.
Lots and lots of questions that have been swirling about Jeffrey Epstein for a long time, for over 10 years, and the goods involved in it. If there's anybody who could walk in and say, okay, we've resolved all of the questions and there is nothing here, it would be President Trump and his crew. Problem, you can't really do it without giving some explanation, and there has to be some explanation, and I think that's why you have a lot of people still pretty with a lot of very valid questions about it.
You absolutely nailed it. You can defuse this ticking time bomb if you simply get out there, sit down, the AG, get the deputy director, and get the director himself, put them in front of cameras, have them make a statement, and have them answer questions. We're only talking about 5 or 10 questions. But what this will do is, first of all, restores confidence. Number 2, it answers some of the basics, especially the simple things like, you can't tell me that 1,000 people were hurt and that there are no people out there that we can arrest. You can't tell me that, sorry, we don't have a list. Fine, don't have a list. Tell me who the perpetrators were. Let's depose every single person who might have had a chance to get on that list and might have been out there at that island, and let's talk to them. Let's find out what happened. You're telling me other videos out there in New Mexico and at the island and in New York, and nobody saw anything? I don't buy it, and that's why they need to get out there and face the fire. Doesn't have to be long, but you have to answer questions to the American people, because absent that, the story won't die, and that's a distraction the president doesn't want.
Of course, and in that True Social that he put out, he talked about all his accomplishments.
Yeah.
And he's saying, why let's not let this overcome. And I think he doesn't want that. I think his supporters don't want that. And I think that's why they want just some simple answers.
Yeah. And of course, he's right about that. I mean,
there's no question.
None of this mars any of the extraordinary accomplishments, and we want to keep going.
That's right.
All right.
Let me go back over here. Yeah, and this I'm gonna keep breaking it down. This is Fox News, and it was an event, I would say, over this past weekend. And there's clips out there. You know, I want to say it was Turning Point USA, which is pretty much, you know, like CPAC on steroids. Is for MAGA. Yeah, the Tucker Carlson speech, the banners, you know, all the MAGA's talking heads. They can't back away from it. So Trump goes on Truth Social, which is pretty much his social media website, and you know, it gets stupid. So you go from we got the Epstein files. I got the list on my desk. This is from AG Bondi. They know Trump is a liar, but they cover up him as some honorable. But listen, I don't expect nothing less from Fox News. I don't expect nothing from Fox News. You know, they're gonna listen. They're gonna ride and until the wheels fall off. They're gonna ride with him until the wheels fall off, because that's how the party is going. But you like I said, you go from AG Pam Bondi saying this no, you know, I got the files on my desk. I'm looking at the client list now. You know, DOJ comes out, says it is no client list. It's nothing to see here, folks. We released the video footage. Then we find out it's a minute missing from the day that he died. You know, then you trying to tell us, oh, that's when, you know, they changed the tape on recording, and that's why that minute is. Listen, it gets. Well, I mean, you know, you know, like I know most of these people are stupid. I hate to say it like that, but you know, when you got, you know, some listen, it's the saying that, you know, my grandma would say to me. She's like, baby, you know, common sense ain't common. And that kind of sticks with me. Because common sense ain't common. You would think he would be cast out, but no. But like I said, it gets worse. This is a very imperfect storm for Trump. So he goes out on social media after saying, you know, after all this stuff comes out about the Epstein files, and he starts talking about we should be focused on this and the 20. We should be talking about election scandals. We should be talking about this, that, and the third. Then he said something, and this has always been a tried and true trick with Republicans in general. When all else fails, blame the Democrats, blame the previous administration, blame them for what happened. So Trump goes on this long rant. See, this is why most heads of state ain't on social media like that. So he goes on this long rant talking about, we should be focusing on this, and I don't know why people are so focused on the Epstein files. And he goes on later to say that, this is a government hoax, a conspiracy. It was created by Obama and Hillary Clinton. Now, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I distinctly remember Epstein getting arrested during Trump's first administration, Epstein being sentenced during Trump's first administration. I don't recall, maybe I was in a coma or something. I don't recall Hillary Clinton being part of your administration. I don't recall Hillary Clinton being part of Joe Biden's administration. I don't recall Hillary Clinton being president. So how do you put this on Obama? So he throws it off on Obama. He throws it off on Hillary Clinton, and it throws it off on the previous directors of the FBI. This is something they meant. Now, hold on. Now, you contradict. Like, this is why social media. Now, I'm gonna talk about social media to close out my show, pulpit session. But why would you, contradict what your administration has been putting out for the last couple of days? There's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. It's not real. Now you're telling us not only is it real and it exists, but it was something that was created by Obama and Hillary Clinton. Like, dude, you can't make this stuff up. You can't. Listen, your president's out here Twitter banging Rosie O'Donnell with everything on this plate. Listen, it's all a distraction, that Bianchi. Excuse me. It's all a distraction. I'm gonna throw you off and have you chasing Obama. I'm gonna throw you off and have you chasing Hillary Clinton. It's always a distraction. Listen, we know we know he's in the Epstein files. Let's keep it a buck. We know he's there. We know his name is all. Oh, you listen. It's all over that. It's all over it. Not just him, but another. It's more. You can't. And here's why. Let me close out this perfect storm thing. I'm not sure how to say her first name. It's just like Ghislaine Maxwell. Her case is up tomorrow. Her appeal has reached the Supreme Court. She is currently serving a 20-year sentence for her involvement in the quote unquote, Epstein Island Epstein Island pedophile ring and whatnot. She's 20 years, but she's appealed her case, and it's up to the Supreme Court tomorrow. Her hearing is tomorrow. That's why I said this is an imperfect storm. Now the Supreme Court finds themselves in a very awkward position, because now the administration has been running around the past week or so saying it's no list, it's nothing to see here, nothing, it's not. But you want me to believe that all of these people were victimized, all of this pedophilia behavior was going on, and this lady is serving a 20-year sentence. Epstein was convicted, was in prison, died mysteriously of natural causes. I want to say the story of what he took his own life or something. But you have her cases up in the Supreme Court in the middle of this shitstorm that is going on related to the Epstein. Listen, and it's not going away. because you refuse to, like you said, refuse to comment on it, refuse. Your story has changed. They got audio of Kash Patel talking about, man, if you see the Epstein files, it's crazy. Now it's nothing to see here. Like, but her case is up tomorrow in the Supreme Court for appeal. The Supreme Court is in a very awkward position because Trump and his administration, want them to deny their appeal. And I don't know what they're going to do with Maxwell. I'm curious to see how the Supreme Court kind of rules on her appeal tomorrow. Because that it ain't no shit. He said he can listen. But Anki, listen, he's talking to he's talking to his folks. Them dog whistle. Listen, I've talked about this extensively over here. I've never, and I mean never, seen any individual, Democrat or Republican, have that much control over the direction of a party's politics. It's almost like they couldn't push back if they wanted to. That man told him, I want. Listen, it's a reality show. We're stuck. Unwilling. That's why I say we're unwilling participants in a reality show. Yeah, listen. He's gonna say Joe Biden's on. It's Joe Biden is co-author of this conspiracy. Anything to kind of now he's on them tapes. He's on them tapes. He's on them tapes. You know he is. But this is not a part. But it's. I agree, but listen. This is how backwards. Like I said, I've never seen a man hold or control over a part, and let's call it what it is. They're registered voters, and that's only not that's keeping it about. They're registered voters. He has that much control over them. Like I want a big, beautiful bill by July 4th, not because I'm working against a strict deadline, because I want it for the Dog and Pony show. Listen, this clown has said he wants a UFC event, be held at the White House, next year for 4th of July, which will be 250 years, if I'm not mistaken, 250 years of U.S. independence. He wants a UFC fight at the White House. He wants about 20 to 25,000 spectators for a UFC fight at the White House. This is a reality show, and we're like I said, we're unwilling participants in this show. Unwilling participants. Yeah, I'm just fascinated. He on it. Listen. We know he's on the tapes. It's audio coming up. I saw a clip earlier this week. Michael Cohen's daughter, from a while back, like she made reference to a situation that happened when she was around 15, 16 years old. How Trump made a inappropriate comment towards her. We've heard him. We've heard him, and you're not gonna believe, have me believe. I just kind of know of Jeffrey Epstein because he lived in the area. Like, nah, bro. Oh, damn what you see on the tapes. They ain't happen. Nah, And the far right, the Steve Bannons, the Tucker Carlsons, the Charlie Kirks, that ilk, they're not letting it go either. Because this is what you ran on. This is one of your promises you ran on. You was going to expose the conspiracies. And listen, that group, the Alex Jones of the world, they love that shit. That loves it. And as much as you speak to the base, they speak to the base too. They're not going for the banana in the tailpipe, bro. That you have to, at this point, release them. And that story's not going anywhere. I don't care what you say about Rosie O'Donnell. I don't care if you throw Obama, Biden, and listen, it's he's gonna throw whatever he can or whoever he can in front of the story. The general public is gonna want to see those files. You can't eat your base is as dumb as I think they are. They want to see them files. They want to know who was involved. Listen, if he wasn't involved and it was Bill Clinton all over, let's switch Bill Clinton with Trump as far as like who we think is heavy on those tapes and in those files. Oh, they'd have been released on day one. They'd have been released on day one. They would have been released on day one. These people are incel. They couldn't have power over normal women, so they abuse kids. Listen, that is some sick stuff that they have going on. With Epstein Island. For those you want to do your research on, that case, yeah, AOC, yeah, AOC. Listen, here's the response to that. AOC did call him a rapist the other day, but he screamed for his lawyer. He wanted to sue her. He told his lawyers, he wanted to sue her for making that statement. But his lawyers advised him that, this has been, kind of, floating out there on Truth Social. His lawyers advised him that, him taking that approach would mean he would have to give them access to, her lawyers, if he does sue, give her lawyers access to the quote unquote Epstein files as part of the case. Yeah, disclose. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, he would have to disclose that. Like, it's bad. It's not going anywhere. And hold on, where is because I got another, and I like this approach. Let me close this because I'm not using that clip tonight. This I like. It's a two-pronged approach. I like how the Democrats are kind of using this moment. This is politics. This is what they do. This is the game they play. But I want you to let me kind of start this clip over. It's a short clip. Let me get this queued up. Sorry, I'm a little rusty. I'm not in game shape right now. Okay. Am I queued up? Let me make sure. Check this out. It's one or two. And I got I'm gonna play the second one, then I kind of get into that, and then we'll kind of do what we do. Listen, Nap, it's a lot of people that could be on the tapes. It's a lot of people, not just Republicans, entertainers. It's a lot of people involved. It's a lot of people involved. But let me play this clip real quick. Check this out.
President Trump promised to end the wars. He promised to release the Epstein files. Did anyone really think the sexual predator president who used to party with Jeffrey Epstein was going to release the Epstein files?
All right, that's the first clip. That's Senator John Ossoff. And the Democrats are taking a very proactive approach. And it could be a winning strategy with the midterms being next year. Let me get the second clip kind of queued up real quick. And it's kind of being led by, I would say, the new wave of Democrats, the younger demographic of Democrats that we have up there in Congress. They're kind of leading the new wave on this. Let me get it queued up real quick. I think this could be a winning approach. Okay, we could check this out.
Democrats take over after the midterms next year, the House and or Senate, do you think they're going to push for investigations into Trump's family and the whole crypto acquisitions that he is getting?
Well, Alex, I'm glad you asked.
Oh, here we go.
Listen, so long as we end up taking the House, which I fully anticipate that we will do, and we are going to work hard to obviously help our Senate colleagues as well, then as someone who serves on the Oversight Committee and hopes to lead the Oversight Committee, I can guarantee you that we will do what we are supposed to do as constitutionally sworn members of the House, which means that we will conduct oversight. That means that we will investigate. We will look at whether or not this president himself has violated the emoluments clause as it relates to, say, such things as getting a $400 million plane from the Qataris. We also will make sure that we're looking into all these business deals that they have going on. I mean, think about it this way, Alex, they were going after Hunter because he sat on a board. Think about how much money they are raking in, whether we're talking about the next golf resort that they're setting up in Qatar, or whether we're talking about them leveling Gaza, as they've talked about how it would be great beachfront property, whether we're talking about this crypto scam, the scam that people didn't even want to walk into and show their faces. Let me tell you, there is no shortage of things for us to dig into and determine whether or not there have been not only violations of the law, but definitely violations of our Constitution as a whole.
Did you make a little news here? Didn't you say you hope to lead that committee?
I absolutely do. Unfortunately, we are going to lay our dear colleague, Jerry Conley, to rest here on Tuesday. And there will have to be an election to determine who is going to lead the Oversight Committee. And ultimately, I am hoping and praying that my colleagues see that I can provide what we need as a team to make sure that we can move forward and instill some confidence in the American people by knowing that they have a real fighter who will not back down, even in the face of all the threats that I will have waged at me. Because Lord knows I get death threats every single day. But at the end of the day, I truly believe that God will never leave my side. And so I will fight fearlessly and ferociously for the American people.
All right, I'm back. That was Democrat Jasmine Crockett. Listen, this approach, just me just spitballing here. It was also crazy. Is a prediction. People like that to be open-minded. I think he invited people to that island at times without showcasing kids to provide his own cover. I don't know. I don't know if they found out. This you talking about when you talking about let's kind of break down Epstein Island. That is not something that you if you halfway into it, that's not something you expose just to anybody. That is something that you to want to bring them to that kind of stuff and be involved in that level of debauchery. You have to kind of feel them out. And I think everyone that kind of went there, for those kind of events, frequently, I think you kind of got I want to say you got screened, but you got to kind of test the waters. Case in point, I kind of put it in terms of the regular people can kind of understand what I'm kind of getting at here. It's like New Jack City. Everybody don't come to the Carter. Everybody don't get to see how we run in the Carter. You got to kind of work yourself into that position. Like Pookie, you just couldn't walk in and like I'm in charge of the dope, manufacturing. Like I gotta, kind of work myself into that kind of like you gotta kind of scream, motherfuckers, when you, especially if you're in some shit like that, where you're talking about, flying in, girls and young children and that kind of stuff. You gotta kind of test the waters with somebody before you bring them into that whole lifestyle that you got going on. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, that's the thing. He conducted business on the island also. Like I said, at this point you gotta release them. And you heard the Fox News analyst say it, like, anybody that was, quote unquote on the list or in the files, they need to be disposed, and like, hey, we need to find out what's going, like, what was your level of involvement. Because I'm not going to say everybody that visited there was a pedophile, but if you was a frequent, if you was a frequent flyer, and you really had no business dealings with him, it's just you was there for the I hate to say it, for the kids, like dude, you need to be in jail also. But this Epstein situation is definitely blowing up. Yeah, that's why I'm talking about. Yeah. And I say this is an imperfect storm. Stay tuned for Maxwell's appeal. And like I said, it's supposed to be held, in the Supreme Court tomorrow. They're going to make a decision. Hopefully, make a decision on it. They may kick it down the road, knowing them. Yeah, not everyone on the plane, or but it's if you were there. And like I said, frequent flyers. If you was only there one time, the likelihood of you actually participate is low. I'm not going to say it ain't possible, but I would say it's low. Listen, he'll start World War II before he leaves those states. Here's the thing, Nappy. I low key agree with you. Like, he'll strike Iran in the middle of the night to get y'all, and I say y'all, just talking about the general public, get y'all talking about something else other than Pedo Island. Whatever. Listen, he try. Listen, if you get a chance, I'm not subscribed to. I don't have an account on Truth Social, but they share his stuff on. The White House retweets it on Twitter, so it's on Twitter. He's distracted. He's distracting. It's been a shit show. It's been a shit show. He wants to get the focus back on immigration, and for him it ain't working. Like, yeah, that's important, but what's up with them Epstein files? Yeah, you said you had them. She said she had them on the desk. You was passing out these thick ass booklets of information to social media influencers that you trusted, that you thought was touting them as they're going to be the ones to let you guys know this is verifiable, and we're going to be doing the right thing, and deep state and all of that shit that they love. More, the right loves that shit more than anybody. The QAnon and stuff, like, weather manipulation. They love that kind of shit. But you can't get away from this. I'm curious to see how, like I said, when Maxwell's decision comes down, I'm curious to see, because people are not going to stop talking about it. It's going to be the top of the news cycle each and every day. And your talking heads that you have out there, your Alex Jones, your Steve Bannons, your Charlie Kirks, your Tucker Carlsons. Hell, I might as well include his ass in that group too. Your Stephen A. Smiths. He came out and was like, he don't see why people care about it. He says most people don't really care about the FC. They do. And listen, it wouldn't even be that major of a story if the reality star that he is didn't make it a story. You made it a storyline. You ran on this as part of your campaign. You grandstanded. You're going to release some transfer. You did this. You created this monster. You created this monster because you love the attention. You love to be seen. You want to be on the scene. instead of moving in silence. If you listen, if I knew they had some shit like that on me, I wouldn't have said the man name, especially after he's dead and gone. That'd be my every time they would have said something about it, that's something you're gonna have to speak to the DOJ about. And I'd have had DOJ with explicit instructions that whatever you release, it is heavily redacted. I'm talking about I don't even want to see other than his name, no names will be shown. And I would say it's a matter of national security. No, but no, not him. Not the attention seeker. Not the attention seeker. You want, and this is part of what happens when you want the spotlight. This is what happens. You shine a light. Sometimes you shine a light on your own problem. Boy, I just said a word. Listen, Nap, listen. You redirect and you give instructions. Like, no, whatever y'all have, and he's fully aware. You best believe he's fully aware of what they got. My instruction would have been the DOJ. Whatever you release, it is heavily redacted. Motherfucker, I don't even want dates on that shit. You know, we can't do the certain, national security concerns, we can't, for intelligence purposes. Like, no. I mean, but sometimes when you want that light, it burns. You want to dance in that spotlight, it burns. Okay, but let me because I do have one more little quick clip before I kind of get up out of here. And this is here's another reason I got a short clip, and this is for my people in Texas. And this kind of goes back to what I'm saying. This is a hate group, but this people. You just can't make this shit up. But let me play this clip real quick. I forget. I've been off the big screen for a minute. Don't matter. Okay, I should be queued up. Check this out real quick, and I'm gonna get into the Texas situation as far as the flooding and stuff. But yeah, check this out.
We do not want more of Biden's mandates attached to keeping Biden's money.
But these people are communists. They hate America. They're teaching it in our schools. They're invading the border as we speak. I don't think we should take any money from the federal government because they can't be trusted.
Now, we don't need these funds here. We've done just fine. And we'll get by without them. But you spend this money, you're signing a contract with the devil, and the devil's in the White House.
If you vote to keep Biden's money, I will hold you personally responsible and personally liable.
The Biden regime has proven to be tyrannical and anti-American. There is no part of this administration that has the good of America or Americans at heart. We want no part in anything coming down from the federal government. This is Texas, and Texans can take care of Texas.
And I don't believe we should take the money. We should not have it. I don't trust our federal government. I don't think that they're truthful with us. And in these days and these times or whatever, we can't afford to make a mistake.
Let me come back over here. Let me get myself back on the screen. Listen, what you saw there was clips from individuals in Kerr County from a couple years ago, when the Biden administration allocated, I would say that's a better word, allocated, I want to say $10.2 million for them to implement for early warning systems in that area. They ended up taking the money, but not using it for what it was intended for. They put a lot of that money. A lot of that money was used for law enforcement purposes, and and I hate to keep harping on this and bringing it back. Like people are stupid. People are stupid. This is the federal government, whether you like Trump or you hate Trump or you like Biden or you hate Biden. When stuff is allocated for public services, let it be allocated. It's not you making a deal with the devil, huh? Because if they offer your city or your county money for rehabbing roads, rehabbing bridges, that's you're making a deal with the devil. Like they're gonna come and like, what are we talking about here? But this is how I hate to say this is how dumb some people are. Like it's dummy. It's your goddamn money anyway. What are you talking about? You are a taxpayer. This is how's this a deal with the devil? But this is the line. This is the line of thinking. I mean, and this you cannot make this up. This level of stupidity. If you take by the dummy, is yours. You're a taxpayer. What are you talking about? You are a taxpayer. It's your money. We don't want his money. We don't want to better our schools, and we don't want to rehab property. That's making a deal with the devil. You sound like a fucking idiot. He's giving you your money back. It's not even like a dope deal. But this dumb as a fucking bag of rocks, boy. Dumb as a fuck. I mean, Texas is, just another example. Just like rural farmers are another example. People are stupid. I mean, how could you, as a farmer, and you got you look out on your fields and you see nothing but undocumented Mexicans, and went in there and voted for his ass anyway. Dumb. I'm going to bankrupt my family because I believe in that man. I believe him. Fucking idiots. Fucking idiots. Stupid as shit. But it kind of leads me into my as I like to call it, my closing verse, or as Beautiful likes to call it, the pulpit. And I saw somebody put up a kind of I want to say it was a quote. They made a statement, and it really resonated with me on a lot of different levels. But they said social media is the only place where kids that were in honor classes, kids that were in regular classes, and kids that were in special ed classes all end up in the same place at the same time. And I had to think about that for a moment. And despite, and I'll kind of, for those who know what a Tuesday spot's at, we'll be over there. And I kind of get into with some other stuff in regards to that. But you really think about it. Social media has leveled the playing field to where, the kids that were in honor classes, the kids that were in regular classes, and the kids that were in special ed classes all are all on the same playing field. And it's evident, if you're looking on social media, if you participate in social media in any kind of form or fashion, how people that obviously are, I want to be as delicate as I can coming off break, but they speak. How can I say this? You tell me you kind of relay your intelligence level by how you act and how you speak and how you carry yourself. And you can fairly easily point out the kids that were in special ed classes, the kids that were in regular classes, and the kids that were in honor classes about how they conduct themselves and what they choose to do in the social media spaces. But social media has made it where the kid that was in special ed or the kid that was in the alternative school because they had behavior issues feels like they're your intellectual equal or your superior because of they're on social media and when they're here with you. Like, no, you're not. Sometimes you gotta let people believe they operating on the same level you are. Like, let them think they're in a let them think they're in a Phantom when they're really in a Chrysler 300. Just keep letting them think that. And like this, it's not my job to tell you you're not in a Phantom. If you believe you're in a Phantom, have at it, sir, ma'am. You make believe you're in a Phantom. Make believe that you are moving the same way that I'm moving. And if that makes you feel better, that's fine. It's not my job to destroy your fantasy and your reality, because you obviously relaying to me that you was one of those special kids. You was one of those special kids. You was one of those kids that had what was in those kind of classes where y'all didn't leave the room all day until lunch. But it's not my job to point out the difference between my Phantom and your Chrysler 300. If you believe we're driving the same car, hey, that's more power to you. It's not my, if it gets you from point A to point B, that should be enough for you. We at the pool, here, brother. Beautiful. Oh, listen, I saw that statement and it's like, like I said, it makes sense on so many different levels. Like we not moving the same. You're in the Chrysler 300. Some of us are in the Phantom. We're moving on. The talk's different. The ride's different. And when I see how Cat Williams say, everybody thinks they're in the Phantom until a Phantom pulls up. and that's how it was with a good message, something to think about. Listen, and then you beautiful. You've been listening to the show long enough. It's a lot of it's a lot of sauce with the message. Sometimes it's a lot of sauce with it. You get it. You listen. Let them operate like that, man. Let them think they in a Phantom. Hell, they can think they in a goddamn Bugatti. It don't matter, because I know what you driving, and I know how you rolling. I'm good. If you want to believe, baby, that damn Honda Accord you in is a goddamn Lambo, have at it. It is not my job to convince you that it's not a Lambo. It is not. You believe. Listen, you in the land of make believe. Believe all you want. It's far be it for me to ruin your fantasy of yourself. And notice I said the word fantasy, not reality. Not reality. That is your fantasy. And this part goes back to what I was saying. Social media, like, you have some people come on here, ain't living right, ain't healthy, and I'm not just talking about physically, ain't healthy mentally or spiritually, and come on and put the costume on and become a whole different character. Like, but hey, it's not my job to pull you out of that fantasy. If you want to dress up in your Superman t-shirt and your tighty whities and put a blanket on your around your neck and think you Superman, have at it. Far be it for me to let you stop your fantasy. Is that reality? No. Hey, it's social media where the honor kids, the regular kids, and the special ed kids all get together in the same place at the same time. You know, just pay attention to what you're looking at and understanding what you're looking at. You think you Superman? Fine, have at it. You want to make weird ass noises? Right. You know, that's okay. Hey, you believe you Superman? Have at it. You know, you just, to me, you just a dude in a t-shirt and tighty whities playing Superman. But that's okay. That is okay. Now, listen, and I say this like this, just understanding where you at. Like I'm kind of give you like I took a break for a couple weeks, not because I had to. I just wanted to. I just wanted to, you know, because you know I like to, you know, get into reality, do real shit, you know, outside of the place. Now, sometimes like I don't want to be around the special ed kids, not on social media, not in real life. I like to be with the honor kids and the regular kids. You know, I don't want to play with the special ed kids. But you know, this 2 weeks out, I was traveling, day trips, doing this, doing that, having a good time, touching fucking grass, joining the family, visiting family. Listen, and it don't stop. I just choose, even with the social media, like you can choose to hang with the honor kids and choose to hang with the regular kids and choose to hang with the special ed kids because we're all here. We just understand what, you know, what the reality is and what the, you know, what the fantasy is. You know, you can be Superman. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that RG3 post. I saw that RG3. He retweeted that post where, you know, Angel Reese was depicted as a gorilla. Listen, at this point, RG3 might as well sign up for Team MAGA and go full blown. You know, you was you like that touch the grass period. Yeah. Beautiful. Listen, I read that as a double entendre. Like, you know, sometimes it's, you know, just get outside and touch grass. You know, run your fingers through it. Not roll it up all the time. But hey, like I said, you know, this is social media where, you know, all three groups are together in one space. But just understand, hey, if they think they in a Lambo and you look over and they in a Honda Accord, they let them have at it, man. Yeah, I even help you out. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Give you sound effects to go along with it. They make you feel better. If it make you feel better, you know. But you know, I you know, try to you know, distinguish the honor kids, the regular kids, and the special ed kids, and choose how you want to engage. Like, you know, let them live. Listen, let them live the dream. All right, you notice I said the dream, not reality. But back to what you know, kind of, you know, yeah. RG, I mean, you got fired from ESPN. You know, your career was shortened by injury. You might as well sign up for Fox News. I mean, you know, you kind of clearly made it what side of the, you know, fence you kind of play on anyway, bro. So you might as well sign. Beautiful. Vroom, vroom. Vroom, 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 vroom. I'm just saying. Oh, I'm just saying. Hold on, let me do something real quick. I wonder if it's gonna kick me out. Yeah, it's gonna kick me out. No, I think it shouldn't kick me out. I'm just saying. you know. But anyway, let me get my ass up out of here because I went down a rabbit hole. You chase my rep. Them other shoes ain't your size, little nigga. Especially a kid left earlier. Not the side. No, listen. Beautiful. You know, it's some people that you meet, you see, you interact with. They was, going from class to class, walking in a straight line. You know who they was. They identify themselves all the time. They identify themselves all the time. Walking together in the straight line, teacher in the front, teacher 80 at the back. You knew who they was. Headed to that little classroom at the end of the hall. If they believe they honor students, baby, then more power to you. More power to you. Far be it for me to ruin your fantasy of yourself. That is not my job. You can be all you want to be. You can be who you want to be. But anyway, let me get my ass up out of here. Of course, Tuesday, if you're interested, if you're interested in joining Tuesday, it won't be here and it won't be there. It's the other space. If you're interested, just leave me a comment, and I'll make sure to get you driving directions to that spot. We're gonna have a good time on Tuesday. We'll be doing I'm thinking about doing a full album review of the Clipse album. Of course, we're talking about Drake and his latest statements, and some other stuff. The entertainment side of stuff. I don't really do over here no more. But excuse me. Yeah, we'll be doing that on Tuesday over there. I'm really excited to kind of chop that up. We got to shake the rust off. As far as the sports is concerned, training camps are have kind of mandatory OTAs and that kind of stuff. But preseason will be starting soon, so we will be getting diving in with the NBA kind of wrapping up. We'll be diving in the NFL. We'll be kind of giving you guys, like we do each and every season around here since we've been started this channel. We'll be doing team by team previews, outlooks, predictions, and that kind of stuff headed into the season. And of course, once the season starts, I'll be giving you, be careful, brother. Woo! Listen, beautiful. As I always said, everybody ain't invited. Everybody don't get VIP access. Listen, I leave them scrambling. What are you talking about? Some people ain't invited to the function. Hey, not like us. But NFL, of course, I was once, season previews, all of that kind of good stuff. Of course, we'll be breaking down games each and every Sunday. NBA starts back up. We'll kind of hey, Miss Merv. Hey, I enjoyed. Listen, Miss Merv, I enjoyed my break. It's been a minute. It's been a minute, but yeah, I enjoyed my break. Short little vacay. Got to touch grass and enjoy life, and we'll be doing. Listen, I'm thinking about. I saw a clip. Side note, I saw a clip, and I always wanted to go there and like really enjoy it. I'm thinking about. I keep that to myself, because You know, you never know who's watching, who's following. But I keep that to myself. I keep that to myself. He's gonna be here, like. But yeah, Tuesday, of course. Like I said, if you're interested in finding out, how we getting it down on Tuesday, like I said, it won't be here. And it definitely won't be over there. I can't feed the needy. Just let me know. Leave a comment or something. Trust me, I'll make sure to get word to you. You'll find the bad signal. Don't worry about it. But yeah, we'll be doing that on Tuesday. Of course, we doing our thing here. It looks beautiful. Yeah, we're gonna cut up a little bit on Tuesday. We're gonna cut up a little bit on Tuesday. We're gonna have some fun though. Yeah, that's like I said. Yeah, closing where this I like to hang out with the honor kids. I like to hang out with the regular kids. And, let the special ed kids. I'm good on them. I'm good on them. Tuesday. Our division will be led first division where all started. Yeah, Nap. I'm definitely going to get into that. With the NFL first time ever for that division. And we saw what Nap Yankees talk about. I keep calling Nap Yankees the apocalypse. I'm so used to calling Nap Yankee. My bad, bro. I know what it is with the name change. But you right. First time in 4 starting quarterbacks, NFC East, all black quarterbacks. That's dope in itself. Now I'm not sure how long Russ is gonna hold his job, but but still, it is a beautiful thing. Yeah, brother. Yeah, I'll reach out to you and let you know. Yeah, definitely come through. I might just do like a live review of the clips out. Man, I've been bumping the hell out of it. 12 o'clock when it dropped. Get that old feel back. But yeah, I'll definitely reach out to you for that. Definitely reach out to you. Anybody, anybody A1s from day one that are interested, just let me know. Most of y'all are over there anyway, but if you kind of missed the bat signal the first time, I'll make sure you get it. You know how to find me. Yeah, but Nap, yeah, definitely going to get into that. Of course, I get my division picks and all of that kind of stuff. Y'all know how I do. Each and every season. It's still Cowboys for life now. Don't get it fucked up. But once the season starts, I got to put on the analyst hat and kind of give you, my picks. But still Cowboys for life around this bitch now. I thought I might go up and let me look on the schedule. Hold on, give me a sec, y'all. I want to look on the schedule. I might actually go up. When do let's look at Eagles schedule real quick. I want to know when they what their home games looking like. Let me look up. Let's see what they schedule. Give me a sec, y'all. Eagles. I don't give a shit about the preseason. Okay. Y'all kick the season off with us. That's a Thursday game. Let's see, Thursday. Yeah, I got Rams, Bucks, Broncos at home. I'm just looking at y'all home games real quick. Brother might make a trip. Brother might make a trip. I ain't going for that thing. I might be able to get tickets to that Raiders game in December. But anyway, Yeah, don't worry. It's gonna be a lot of shots being thrown during the NFL preview. But you know me, Miss Murphy. I'm always fair and unbiased when I'm doing my analyst stuff. But it's still, fuck the Eagles, fuck the Giants, fuck the Commanders, Cowboys for life. But anyway, let me get my ass up out of here. Like I said, Tuesday, tune in for that. See you back, guys, here next week. I'm surprised. Listen, I think my executive producer is still on vacation because she ain't dropped down not one time. And I know she's gonna be like, "Oh, you didn't tell nobody you was back." I mean, damn, I set the live up. I don't do the community walls and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're definitely yeah, I'm back. I'm refreshed. I said I can't feed the needy. And I can't feed the greedy. But anyway, y'all know the phrase, the pace is over here. Hey, remember, they hate what's in you because it ain't in them. And I hope that that message don't fall on deaf ears. Let that sizzle in your spirit. They hate what's in you because it ain't in them. Y'all know the phrase, the pays around here. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.